Hey guys, so welcome to today's video. I'm doing a tutorial for you guys on this look right here. It's kind of bright. Actually, it's quite bright. And I'm incorporating some like really bright neon, kind of orangey shades from some NYX palette with some kind of yellows and some more goldeny, kind of orangey kind of colors. On the lower lash line, I don't usually do color combinations like this for day to day. In fact, I don't really do this kind of bright stuff very often, but I do like the overall look. And I hope that you guys will enjoy something a little bit different. And it's quite easy to do. It's easy to follow along and create this look. It's not anything that, I guess, time consuming or anything that requires a lot of sort of technique or makeup application experience at all, because it's so easy. And I hope, hopefully, with this tutorial you can follow along and it's easy to follow and you guys can try this out yourself. You can definitely substitute any of these colors or products for something that you have in your collection. Please, by no means does this tutorial mean that you have to go out and buy these products. You can use whatever you have. I'm using two palettes actually that I just sort of picked out of my drawer that I haven't used in a while, turned the camera on, and just sat down and created something bright and fun. So I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I do. And if you want to see how to do this look, then keep watching. Picked out of my collection were the Too Faced Sweet Peach, which I haven't used in a couple months. It's a very good palette. It's, you know, something that I've raved about and I've used in previous videos as well, and I've shared with you guys in favorites. So this is a palette that's still available. It is a very hyped up product, or it was when it first came out, but I honestly think it's a really good palette for the money, for the color variety, for the quality that you get in this palette. I think it's great. So this is what it looks like for those of you who don't have it or want to get a closer look at it. And I also picked the NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palette. This is in the Brights, and this was a fairly recent purchase that I made several weeks ago, and I haven't had a chance to play with some of these orange colors and some of these sort of purpley colors. I did a tutorial with this row of some of these blues, really, just those two there, and those were okay. They were a little bit difficult to work with, so I really wanted to incorporate some of these shades somehow into something kind of orange and peach. I don't know, because I just feel like that's kind of summery. I'm going to start with this palette, and I'm going to take a flat eyeshadow brush. Just any brush would work just fine. And I'm going to start with the color Peaches and Cream, which again is just very, ouch, that's my finger. A very light color. It is matte, and I'm going to place this all over the lid. I do have a little bit of foundation and translucent powder already there, but just to make sure so everything blends and doesn't cling to anything, I like to go and do this extra step. Now with a fluffy crease brush, this is the Morphe M441, I'm going to be creating some shading and some depth in the crease before going in with some of the orangey colors. So I think I'm going to go in with a shade called Georgia. And excuse my nails, they are disgusting. I haven't done them in weeks. So this color here is called Georgia. It is matte, and it has a very soft, subtle, kind of pinky tone to it. It's not like pink. And as you can see, I'm not being very careful at all when I'm applying this shade with this M441 brush. I'm just sort of slapping that sucker on all over my crease area. So I'm just going all over the place with this. And I think what I'm going to do is start working on the lower lash line at the same time, sort of like going back and forth. So I'm going to go in with a pencil brush. This is the MAC 219 and that same Georgia shade. And I'm just going to add this to the lower lash line, being that I already have this color and I'm working with it into the crease. So I'm going to be doing some back and forth here. Candied Peach is a really bright, true peach color, but it does have a little bit of some kind of golden glitter flecks in it. But the last time that I used this in my crease, I didn't really see that translating onto the crease, which is why I'm okay with using it. But if it were very glittery, I wouldn't even go for it in the crease. But I'm going to go with a fluffy brush. This is just the Royal and Langnickel. crease brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of that and add that to my crease. And as you blend, you'll lose some of that glitter. So don't be afraid to use this color in the crease. It's really pretty. And then I'm going to go back in with that Morphe M441, and I'm going to go around everything that I just did. And it has some residual eyeshadow, the Georgia Shadow, so it'll help blend everything out. And then I'm also going to go in with the same 219 brush from before with that same Candied Peach, and I'm going to start adding some of this onto the lower lash line. And I am coming in all the way with this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit more and make sure that this outer corner sort of connects. I do like doing this so that it just sort of blends down from here to here. And I'm just following the natural shape of my eye. If you wanted a more cut sort of shape, you can put a piece of tape or use like a business card and then apply your eyeshadow and get that shape as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bop over to the NYX palette, and I'm going to see how these colors work because they swatch really pigmented, but when I use some of these blues, they work kind of patchy. So I'm going to go in probably with this orange here, and it is quite neon in person. Hopefully the camera's picking up the color, and this is more of like a deeper, kind of like a pumpkin-y type of orange. So if you wanted, if you have something like that, you could use that, but this is more of like a neon. And I'm just gonna go in right in this crease area, and I'm just following my natural shape here. And then I am going to come up a little bit higher with this shade as well. And I'm going to clean it up with my crease brush, but just to kind of place that color. I'm coming in all the way in. And then with that same brush that I used for the Candied Peach, I'm going to go around everything and just soften out those edges so it's not as harsh and intense. And I'm also going to take that same shade and I'm going right under the lower lash line with this. And I am coming a little bit low with that as well, just because I want this to be a little bit more dramatic than I normally do, but, you know, just also keeping it quite wearable. And then I'm going to use this same brush to just add a little bit more right into my actual natural crease area. So it's going to be more concentrated right in here, and then just more blown out above it. And so I was playing with some of the shades together, the yellow and that sort of neon color, and when you blend them together it creates a really pretty orange. So I did that on the lower lashes here, and I think it looks pretty. I don't know if I'm quite ready to bring it up into the crease, so I'm going to think about it as I continue on. But the color that I used was this. This is more of like a golden, like orangey yellow. This is more of like a bright sunny yellow, and this is a little bit more golden. So I'm going to use a pencil brush and add that to this under eye area. And it's just going to make this look a little bit more orangey, and I'm getting very like sunsetty vibes with this look. Not what I was going for on the lower lashes, but I thought, you know what? Why not, right? Just go for it. Alright, so I've gone back and added just a little bit more of that really bright kind of orangey shade here, that sort of neon color, with the same brush and just working it back and forth. And I know it looks a little intense because there's not much else going on. And then we need to work on the actual lid area. And I wanted to do something a little bit more shimmery. And for that, I'm going to use the shade called Nectar, which is like a yellowy kind of buttercream shimmery shade. It's really, really pretty. You could use a pinky champagne or even an icy like a more white type of shadow, you could do that. But I'm going to go in with this one that's more of kind of like a yellowy, goldeny color. And I'm just going to press that right onto the lid area here. And then I'm going to take that same nectar, and that's going to go in the inner corner of the eye as well. And I'm going to blend it into that sort of orangey shade there. And then on this eye, I added a little bit more orange. And for this step, and when you're using colors in this method to add really intense darkness and really saturate the under eye area, the lower lash line, a flat shader brush like this is going to be your best friend. If my camera will focus, there you go. A brush like this is going to work. This is an old one from Sigma. They still make it, but it has the old numbering from, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. And I'm using this orange here that's kind of more of like a pumpkin-y orange as opposed to what we use, which is more of a neon in the crease. And I'm going to just take that and tap off the excess. And basically what I'm going to do is stamp this right where the root of my lashes meets up with the waterline. And I don't want to take this too close to the waterline because I don't want to actually get the powder in my eye, but it's going to be really close. And I do this all the time. And then if you want to smoke it out, if you're using a dark color, you can just take a really small pencil brush or a really detailed crease brush and just buff out the edges. And it'll create some darkness and some smokiness without removing too much of the color. And I'm going to take this all the way in. And so you'll see that kind of orange sort of ring around here, but then it kind of smokes out or blends out into that sort of kind of golden yellow that we put on before. Which I think I'm going to add a little bit more. Just a touch more of that yellow. Which I will show you again. It's this one here, this kind of golden yellow. The ColourPop Gel Cream Liners, and this shade is called Puppy, is it? No, Punch. This is called Punch, and it's still available. I was going to use Puppy, which is the orange, but they no longer make that one, and this is the first time I'm using the yellow, and ran that just really quickly on the lower lashes. This is a very intense color, and very out of my comfort zone, and they are very pigmented, and they transfer quite a bit, so lightly is the way to go with these because they're very, very pigmented. And then I just took that same flat shader brush and I went right on the edge of that yellow to make sure that it's blended into the orange shade. Just for a little bit of pop. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm just rolling with it for now. Alright, so we're going to do liner next, and I'm thinking I'm going to go in with a black liquid liner, and I've had this one from L'Oreal, the Voluminous Liner Noir. And it's the one that has like the animal print on it, and I've had this for some time, and I think the reason why I don't use this very often is because it does dry to a kind of shiny, kind of glossy effect. It's not shimmery or metallic or glittery, it's just the finish of it's not quite like a flat satin or matte black, which is what I like. Alright, so then for some mascara, I have to use this one. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. I love this mascara. It gives me very intense lashes, very thick, very long. I've got to use it. So I have a review on this as well. So if you haven't seen it, I will link it above right in here with the cards of the video. And here's a close-up look at the eyes before moving on to finish the rest of the face. I just need to do some bronzer and, of course, my lip product. But these are the eyes. I have no lashes on. As far as falsies are concerned, you could do that as well. Individuals, half strips, full strips, go for it. And I'm just going to go with my natural lashes because I love the way that this mascara makes my lashes look. Alright, so I definitely need to add some bronzer to this face because I am looking really pale. On vacation, I did get just a little bit of sun, mostly on my back when we were at the Dollywood Splash Country Water Park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So my face, sunblock, it doesn't really tan anyways, even if I try to. So I gotta use a little bit of extra bronzer. And I remember talking about this in one of my last videos about travel-friendly palettes or multi-purpose palettes, and it's the balm in the palm of your hand. But in this palette, there is a bronzer called Bahama Mama, which is available for purchase individually, and that's what it looks like there. And I'm going to use that today because I always use my Bare Minerals, so I'm trying to do something different. This is the Morphe E3. I love this, and it's got a bit of a point to it, so it makes bronzing a breeze. Starting around the hairline, adding a little bit of color, and then coming around here. And I'm going to take a little bit of it onto the apples of my cheek, and then also down here. And I'm sort of patting, because I do have a little bit of concealer over a red spot that's still quite red, and then this, oh Lord, those of us who are acne prone know exactly the struggles. So I'm just kind of patting so I don't lift too much of the concealer that I put on. Now for highlight, if you have this palette, there's one in there. I'm going to use something that I haven't reached for in a while. It's the NYX Bright Ideas. These are the illuminating sticks. I did a review on this several months ago when it first came out, and I really like this shade. It's the Chardonnay Shimmer, which is a pretty golden shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run that right down my nose and then blend it with my finger. And these are so easy to work with, so I'm just going to create a stripe there and a little stripe there. You can blend it out with your finger if you wanted to, because they are very blendable, or you could use a beauty blender to blend this out. And I'm going to blend this in quite a bit, so it just gives me a subtle kind of glow to the skin, but not too much. And if you wanted intense, then you could layer a powder over this, and that would look beautiful. I've done that before, and it's pretty. I'm use my finger to get some, and apply that to my cupid's bow. I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick in the shade Pure Hollywood. It has been my go-to for the last 2 weeks. I wear this like every single day. I do have some lip balm on, so it won't be completely matte, but it'll be a little bit matte. Kind of satiny. And I like to use my finger to just create like a wash of this color onto my lips. And that way, I don't get that crazy kind of white line after a while. You know what I'm talking about. It doesn't look good. And then a last minute little thing that I did was add a touch of blush. And I'm using the Instain blush in Argyle. And of course, these are, like I said before, available for individual purchase. These are the Instain blushes from TheBalm. And when you put them on, they actually stain your cheeks. And so I'm just going to use this e.l.f. small tapered brush to just add a touch of this pink right on the actual apples of my cheek. So you smile right there. And I'm just going to kind of lightly pat it and blend it up into the bronzer. And it just kind of gives me a bit of a pretty kind of pinky natural kind of glow to the cheeks without having shimmer, if that makes sense. And then that officially completes the entire face. Alright guys, I told you how easy it is to create this look. It's not that hard, and it's really simple to do. If you have that NYX palette with all those colors, you can do this in any variation of color. You can mix as many of the sort of orangey colors. You can even incorporate some of the pinks. You can do pink and purple. You can do blue and green. You can do blue and yellow. Whatever you wanted to do, go for it. Hopefully this inspired you to do something kind of bright and fun and kind of switch up sometimes. And I think it's fun to do that from time to time. And I hope that you guys liked it, because I like this. I think it came out. I think I did pretty good with it. So I'll have everything listed down below. As always, everything that I use in this video. Thank you so much for being here with me for this tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos in the future. You can also follow me on social media. I have Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It's always listed down below. And I'll talk to you there. Bye-bye.